When most people think of Street Fighter, they think of Ryu and his Hadouken, Ken and his Hadouken as well, Chun-Li and her spinning bird kick, Akuma and his raging demon, E Honda and whatever this move is called, and Joe with his
yeah.
What's the deal?
Yeah. What the fuck? No, yeah, get that nigga out of here.
So in my previous video, I was discussing the first black character in Street Fighter. If you haven't seen that video, go add that to your queue real quick. I'll give it some time. No worries, I'm not going nowhere. Oh, you added it? Alright, thanks. I briefly mentioned some of the lore in regards to Street Fighter 1 and how Capcom absolutely hates this game, to the point where half of the cast don't even return in future installments. This is the epitome of we don't talk about that one here. The game really hasn't aged well, especially with how good Street Fighter 2 World Warrior was and any game right after, but it does give us the opportunity to research and see what some of their intentions were prior to the first release of the official Street Fighter game. I always give them the grace on the outcome of Street Fighter 1 just because the game is almost like half a century old and it was their first attempt at making a balanced yet enjoyable concept for a fighting game, especially with the booming rate of martial arts movies back in the 1980s. But what I wouldn't have forgiven you is for making the main character an average Joe instead of Ryu. Oh, I'm sorry. Y'all ain't know that? They was gonna make this random ass nigga the face of Street Fighter. Let me holler at y'all real quick.
Here go the main player. He fly, he Rayquaza. I got a hand in your future, read danger. I want Mary and Molly and Topanga. I got dopey side foreign goods from both Asias.
Now some of y'all are asking me, who is Joe? What the hell is an average Joe? Why is average Joe the main character of Street Fighter? Calm. I'll explain everything. Street Fighter 1 was differently built compared to the other Street Fighter games. One of the cool things about Street Fighter 2 at the time that we take for granted was that you were able to pick any character from the roster. In Street Fighter 1, you can only use either Ryu or Ken. And to make matters worse, in this game specifically, they had the exact same moveset, meaning realistically there was only one character to choose from. Out of all 12 characters, including Ryu and Ken, Joe was one of them. But what makes him so much more special than the others? He's white. Wait, calm down now, calm down. That's not my reason. Listen, please, just calm down. This is not my reason, by the way. I'm dead serious as to why I said that. Just wait on me, I'll explain. Joe had quite a topsy-turvy upbringing. A Missouri born and bred native, he made quite a name for himself for kickboxing, finding himself really good at it and even holding the kickboxing championship undefeated for a very long time. However, kickboxing wasn't really enough for him to live off as a main source of income. With him also having a not so stable job while kickboxing, times got really tough for Joe. With bills piling up and always being in the wrong side of the law, he instilled himself into a ruffianly lifestyle, often participating in underground fighting tournaments for money. Joe is based off two former kickboxers, Benny the Jet Okiordes, who was pretty popular and made a name for himself in Japan, and the late Joe Louis, hence the name of course. Joe is blonde with spiky hair, and when it comes to his drip, y'all, it's nothing special. Like, I don't know, it's something with Street Fighter 1 characters, they're just so sauceless, oh my goodness! Joe actually had a few canon events in the actual lore. There was a Street Fighter drama CD called Street Fighter 2 Mad Revenger, which if you're not familiar, a drama CD is basically a CD with narration of a story without the visual aid of it. Almost like an audiobook before the audiobook was official, but it had voice acting, sound effects, etc. It was mainly focused on Japanese drama stories and was really popular back in Japan in the 80s and 90s. In that drama CD, Joe was actually meant to fight Ken in the National Martial Arts Open Tournament Finals, but Sagat defeated Joe first and then went on to beat Ken. Apparently, Sagat beat up Joe so badly that his body was just left in the ring unconscious, full of blood and bruises. Hey Joe, you lucky as hell that shit was a drama CD, cause they would've had you looking like a fool if this shit was visual. Out here looking like a Family Guy character. It's almost unthinkable to believe that this dude was gonna be the face of Street Fighter. Not Ryu, Ken, or Chun-Li, but this dude, average Joe. And this was almost the case thanks to Takashi Nishiyama. You see, Nishiyama, he had a little bit of a dilemma. He was one of the devs for Street Fighter 1, and him with a good chunk of his team were adamant on making Joe the main character. If you notice, if you pay attention to the Street Fighter 1 intro, he actually punches the wall before the logo show, which is usually done by the main character or whatever entity the game's lore would revolve around. But in the final development days of Street Fighter 1, some of the devs were like, yo, I think we should make Ryu the main character. And Nishiyama was like, What the fuck? Why? I mean, this is a Japanese fighting game made by Japanese people. I think wanting the main character to be Japanese is a fair request, man. Like, no! The main character needs to be white! American with blonde hair and blue eyes. Whilst disgruntled, Nishiyama succumbed and subsequently Ryu became the main character of Street Fighter. But Nishiyama was adamant on making a game with a white main character for some reason. So he left Capcom in the middle of development for Street Fighter 2 and joined SNK, where his lifelong dream of having a rad American main character came to be true. And ladies and gentlemen, this is how this is how Terry Bogard and Fatal Fury came to be. Can you imagine a timeline where Joe actually becomes the main character? Like, what if Nishiyama was more convincing with his proposal? What if he was like, hey, if Joe becomes the main character, I give one of all y'all $20, and then he becomes the main character. What if that happened? Joe and Ryu would have been the staple characters, and he probably would have never gotten Terry Bogard ever. Who knows how popular Street Fighter would have been with Joe leading the limelight? I guess we'll never know. Ryu took Joe's chain, bro. Now he's broke and poor and has never made an appearance in Street Fighter since. Feel bad for him. What could have been? Anyways, thank y'all so much for tuning into this video. Couple of things we want to say real quick. 3K, we're very close to 3K, just a couple of hundred subscribers away, and we're gonna have some things done before we do that, so stay tuned for that. Also, I didn't forget about Anitsu. I still play games. It's just hard to record. I've been busy these weekends. I've been working these weekends, so it's hard. But stay tuned for some of that as well. I'm gonna have some news in regards to what we're gonna do in the future. And have you guys heard about Pull and Porter? No? Okay. Stay tuned. Stay tuned next week. Stay tuned. Love y'all so much. If you haven't, leave a like, subscribe, let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on Joe and how you would have probably reacted if he was the main character. What do you think would have happened? You think the game would have been popular? You think Street Fighter would have made it? What do you think would have happened? Let me know in the comments down below. Thank y'all so much. Love y'all. I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye.